Actually, there was a gentleman who asked me a question. I would like to read it to. And so it goes something like this. Hi Tom, I have kind of philosophical question, if you don't mind, about approaches in trading. I know that you're using your strategies like School Run, News Strats, and Naked Charts. I think we can both agree that these are fairly mechanical, simple strategies, not mentioning, of course, management of positions, which is also important. Yes, I would agree with that. I have a very simplistic approach to trading. I really do. The question is about specific approach to markets. You for sure along your journey saw tools like volume profiles, market profiles, auction, market theory, order flow, order book, footprints, and all of this stuff, and the traders which trade these. I did. There's big contrast, I would say, between these tools and your strategies, an approach in terms of mechanical simplicity and entry knowledge you need to have, if I can say it that way. Sure, I think my approach is very easy to learn, whilst I don't think that Stiglmaier's approach would necessarily be deemed as easy to learn. So my question is, what do you think about tools, context approaches I mentioned above? I know you're profitable the way you are, but you think it's just not worth to learn and trade these things? Maybe you think they don't give any much more edge that you can have trading naked charts, minute time frames, keeping it simple. I just wonder, what is your take on it? I know that you are saying that technical analysis doesn't matter that much. So then why even bother learning? DOM is in a concept when you're looking at level 2, and the DOM is basically showing all the bids and the offers on either side of the current market price. Order flow, order book, absorption, icebergs, imbalances, and all of this stuff, which can really take a long time if you can just make yourself profitable, for example, the way you are trading without complicating it and focusing on a few mechanical strategies and discretion with position management. I hope you know what I mean, and it's lovely to see you back again on tracks. Okay, I decided to address this question because I think it's a really beautiful question. It's so well framed, and the essence of the question is there merit in studying things like footprint, order flow, etc.? And the best way for me to answer it is to reference my own experience. When I set out trading, I went down avenues that you can't even dream of, things you've never heard of. Hurst cycles, volume theory by a gentleman whose name eludes me, but I know his first name was Tom, who had a software. I studied Gann's square of 12, square of 144, Gann's square of 9. I tracked the tidal water in the Hudson River in New York and correlated it with the S&P 500 futures out of Chicago. I studied moving averages. I studied oscillators. I studied Fibonacci ratios, pattern recognition. I studied something not called tick chart. I'll show you on up here. Got something called Renko. Yeah, I studied Renko charts. That looks something like this. And dare I say, many other things like it. And here I am. I'm preparing a speech for a talk I'm giving in Germany next week, where I'm the keynote speaker. And I find that apart from the flattery of being invited as a keynote speaker, ask yourself this: why has my book sold as many copies as it has? Why is my trading book trending to becoming the number one trading book of all time? Because that's where it's headed. I think it's number 2 now, far surpassing 100,000 copies sold. And then when you think about how many have been downloaded illegally, been translated into, I think at the last count, it was 9, it could even be 12 or 13 languages. Thai language being the latest one. Ask yourself this, not from a self-congratulatory point of view on my part that it's a great book, but ask yourself, why is a book that actually hasn't got anything to do with trading techniques, why is that becoming a bestseller? And I argue, rightly or wrongly, but it is my hypothesis, is that the reason why this book is popular is because it's based on a journey of an individual, me. The Best Loser Wins is a journey through the trenches of 27 years. And then coming to the realization that the tools that we use are of far less importance than the mindset that operates the tools. So there will right now be people listening to me who who are perfectly capable of navigating the markets using market profile, something that Peter Stiedelmeier introduced and something I studied perhaps 2 decades ago. There's Tom DeMark, who introduced his sequential indicator. Right now there are professional traders in hedge fund that are trading Tom DeMark's approach. And I argue that especially with the emergence of the very sophisticated software that we have available at our disposal, and more so as private traders too, I argue that it isn't the tool that will make you. In fact, the tool could break you. I argue that it really is all about the mindset. And what do I mean by mindset? What I mean by mindset is that all of us possesses knowledge that is could be profound, it could be deep, could be superficial depending on your experience, but we all possess knowledge. But knowledge really isn't of any value to us if we don't have the ability and the confidence and the vision to act upon it. And I'm talking about this in my speech in Frankfurt, which, let's face it, is in front of 500 people, all of which have deep understanding of technical analysis. But I wonder how many of them has made as much money from trading as I have. And it's not a competition. It's not a question of my penis is bigger than your penis. But I think what makes me unique is the amount of time that I've spent on working on that person behind executing the trades. And yes, let's face it, I'm every bit as human as you are, and I make mistakes as well. I'm a learning machine, but I am much less reliant on the tools that I use. It's much more reliant on having the right mindset when I go into a trading session. And usually when I fuck up, which I absolutely do, I fuck up usually when I'm tired. Fatigue really is my big enemy. That's my kryptonite. And why fatigue? Well, because fatigue is detrimental to our decision making. It's been proven time and time again through social studies, scientific studies, that fatigue is the thing that can significantly alter our perception of reality. And when you think of, it's like I think it was the French philosopher, or whoever it was, Annie Nin, she said, I think it's she said, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And so if you are a persistently losing trader, I say, well, you're not a losing trader because you're using the wrong tool. You're not a losing trader because you have studied ICT or Steve Neeson or Tad's Candles or Larry Pesavento's pattern recognition. You are a losing trader most likely because you are incapable of taking a loss. So I have decided to answer this question, because if I am in any shape or form able to sway your path, it would be that I feel you should work more on knowing yourself and your weaknesses. Carl Jung said, where there's fear, there's your lesson. You might have said it slightly differently, but where you experience fear, that is exactly where you need to start. And so if you have a trouble executing or following a strategy, changing strategy won't make your trading experience easier or more palatable, because fundamentally there's a flaw with the, shall we say, the mind software behind. So to answer in a much shorter way, I think you should study whatever resonates with you. Don't be swayed by me and my approach. Be sure if it works for you, use it. If ICT works for you, use it. If Larry Pesavento works for you, use it. If Bryce Gilmore works for you, use it. If Peter Stiedelmeier works for you, use it. It isn't so much what you study, it is what are you able to actually execute in real time. Because that money that I made today, what was it, £300-400? So we made some money this morning. That's real. That's money that I can go out, pay the bills, buy food and whatnot. It's real. And it came about from acting upon my knowledge. I acted with conviction. It wasn't the technique that carried me through this morning. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Look at them. They're just, it's a mess, which is why my instinct said it wasn't the technique, and it certainly wasn't the pervy German accent either. It was the conviction. You see me take trades with conviction. You don't see me take trades with doubt and hesitation. I'm convinced that what I do is the right thing to do. The irony of it is all this, that I'm probably not right much more than 50%. Someone once looked at my track record and said that I have a hit rate around 55 to 60%. Technically, That's not impressive, is it? And it doesn't need to be. I think that's all I want to say for now. I'm sensing something here, and please forgive me if I'm completely off mark, but I'm sensing that there are people asking, how can one build confidence? How do you work? How do you work on yourself? Well, may I offer a guiding light, perhaps? There are 3 things that I would like to reveal about myself. 1, I use hypnosis. No, I don't go and am hypnotized by someone. Rather, I deploy something that Betty Erickson called self-hypnosis. And so all you really need to do is to Google Betty Erickson self-hypnosis. It's essentially a way of crystallizing what it is that you want and seeing yourself acting upon it. But please don't think I'm a crank. I'm not selling you anything here. I am perhaps just proposing a pathway. Another tool that I use, visualization. And I think, without really knowing it, I have visualized all my life. I think, and have done since as long as I can remember, I have imagined how I would like things to work out for me. But if this is too esoteric, which I perfectly understand, and I don't want to come across as a stargazing crackpot, then might I suggest a book for you called The 5 Rings, written by a samurai sword master from the 15th century, I think it was. I think you will find the tools for self-improvement incredibly enlightening. All I can say is that book, to me, taught the value of audit yourself. So in closing, the world is getting more and more fat. The world is eating too much. And yet, there's no shortage on slimming books. Hollywood diet, beach diet, keto diet, paleo diet, cabbage diet, and the list goes on and on and on. And like dieting, like trading, there's no shortage of the availability for tools and for knowledge. It is just, are you able to act upon that knowledge? And that, in its simplicity, in a nutshell, is the key to success in any endeavor in life. That's it. You take care of yourself. All the very best. Bye bye for now.